Hey folks, welcome to another HeroPress tip of the week. This week's is going to be a little bit different from past ones. We are not going to do something strictly WordPress. We're going to be looking at some CSS this week. And what we're going to do is create a desktop wallpaper for WordCamp Pontevedra. And then we're going to take it, we're going to put it on wpwallpaper.com. Our wallpaper is going to be 4K, which means it's going to be 3840 by 2160. We're really only going to need to worry about the vertical height because the width will take care of itself. We're going to use the customizer built into this browser. This is Brave. You could use the customizer in any browser, but Brave and Chrome have a unique feature that I will show you in just a few minutes. And what we're going to do is get rid of everything in this gradient except the logo, then make the gradient fill the entire screen, and make the logo a good size, and put it either in the bottom left or right. We get to decide as we go. There's precedence for this. Here, if you look at Athens, there's a logo here in the bottom left. So the first thing we want to do is maximize our browser. And you'll note that at the top here, you can see tabs and whatnot. But Chrome and Brave allow you, if you go under View, to say, always show toolbar, and it goes away. So what we have now is a browser window that fills the entire viewport. Now, I realize right now a lot of this is difficult to see because of the size of the screen, etc. So I'm going to be zooming around showing you different things as we go. The first thing I want to show you is that if you right-click right here, there are no image options. If you right-click on the logo, you can open image in new tab. That's because this background is actually a nearly transparent white grid laid over top of a CSS gradient going from dark blue to green. So there is no image that is blue and green. There's only this white one that goes over it. So the first thing I'm going to do is right-click and go to Inspect. And it opens up this big window down here. And what I actually want to inspect is this white box here. So we'll go to Inspect, and you'll see that it is that big. And so now we're going to zoom down in here on the customizer, and you can see that I'm hovering over this div. If I go up one div, you'll see that it covers the whole thing there. So we're going to stick with this div, and I'm simply going to hit my delete key. And now it's gone. So next, I'm going to zoom out here, and you can see that the paragraph that I'm hovering over is just that one line of text there. So we'll zoom back in here to the paragraph, and I will delete that. And now it also is gone. So now we have just the nav up here and the logo. So let's right-click on the nav and inspect. And we'll zoom back in here on our HTML. So that's a span and an anchor, then a list item. The UL is the unordered list. Then there's a div that wraps up the nav. There's a button for mobile and audio. Then there's another div wrapping it all again, and another div wrapping it all again, and another one. And then there's another button. Then there's the nav tag. And then we get to this one. And you'll note that the one right above it is not dropped down. If we were to zoom out, you'd see that this is actually the logo. So this div contains the entire nav. So we want to get rid of that. And now it's gone. So now you can see that the header is now quite short vertically, and there's nothing in it but the logo. So now what we need to do is make the header be the proper height. Now you may recall that 4K needs to be 2160 tall. So let's go make our gradient 2160 tall. So we'll inspect. And there's a little bit more. There's the header and site block. All right, now what we want to do is make this entire div 2160 tall. So we right click, inspect, and there's that container, then that one, and there we go. WP site blocks is the one we want. So we're going to come over here to the right and type in height, colon, 2160 px. And now you can see that that's 2160 tall. If we close this window, you can see that it perfectly fills our entire screen. But now we have this little tiny logo, and it's in the top, kind of centered. We want to put it in the bottom. We'll put it in the bottom right. So I'm going to right click and inspect, and you can see here in the HTML that the width is 100 and the height is 123. If we take off the height, then it will automatically choose or match dimensions with the height. So let's set our height to be 200. That's pretty good. I like that. And now let's move it to the bottom right. So what we want to move is this one. So we're going to come over here and say position absolute right 0. See, it went all the way to the right. Bottom 0. Now, one problem with bottom 0. Oh no, it's already set. Great. This background must already have a position. And we don't want it stuck right to the walls like that. So we're going to say right will be, let's try 60 px. Let's do 100. And then bottom also will be 100 px. There we go. So now it's the right position from the right and the bottom. So now we're going to close this, scroll all the way to the top, and we have here our wallpaper just as we want it. So now we simply do a screenshot, and you can do that any way you want. I use Clean Shot on the Mac, so I do Command-Shift-3. And it makes a little icon here. If we double click it, you can see we have a wallpaper. And that's all there is to it. I'm going to save it. My screenshots go to a folder called Screenshots. So I'm going to have to go find it there when we're ready. As for now, for getting a wallpaper, it's done. We have it. So let's make this not so big anymore. I'm going to bring up my Finder. Then I need to find my most recent screenshot, which is right here. I'm going to rename it to, reload this now. Now, one problem is that it is currently a PNG, and we want it to be a JPEG. And there are a variety of ways we can do that. I'm going to use the GIMP. So I fire up GIMP. I drag my wallpaper into it. Convert colors. And I right click and export as. And now I'm going to put this in a new folder. HeroPress. WP Wallpaper. And we're going to call it .jpeg. Now, normally I would compress this a lot if I was using it on the web, but I'm not. So I'm okay leaving it actually a fairly large file. If we show preview, it will tell us that it is 824K, which is huge for a web image, but this is intended to be a one-time download and sit on your desktop. So I don't mind. So I'm going to export it that way. Then close the GIMP. And now we can go to WP Wallpaper. And I'll actually make this big so we don't have to zoom around. So in the top right, we go to upload. Click to upload it. The PNG we had was 1.1 meg. And as you can see, our max upload here is 516. So that's no good. So we're going to come over here and grab the JPEG that we made. And there it is. I'm going to choose CC0 license. Put in a wallpaper name. Word. GIMP. You know, I don't want to risk spelling it wrong. I'm just going to copy and paste. My name is Hofer. My email address. And I'm going to grab the website URL for the WordCamp so that traffic goes to them. You know, there we go. Grab that. In there. Did this wallpaper use a Creative Commons wallpaper as its base? No. And submit. And that's all there is to it. Now we have created and submitted a new wallpaper for WP Wallpaper. The point of this was not necessarily to showcase WP Wallpaper, although it doesn't hurt. But what I really wanted to show you is the power of the inspector with CSS and what you can do with a web page to twist it to your immediate needs. Now you'll note that none of the things we did remained permanently. We were only working on a local copy. But you can make images larger or smaller, or get rid of them, or change font sizes, or anything you need to with the inspector. I hope you find this useful.